an Jeff zu stellen, die auch persönlich beantwortet bekommen zu haben. Das ist ja auch ein exklusives Event. Hi Jeff, I've already introduced you.
Okay.
For this event, as you can see, this is a small group, but very important group.
Can you turn this on?
Can we turn off the lights or the beamer?
Yeah.
So we are here with most of those distributors are higher positions, Q and MD pluses. They came here because they wanted to get to know you better, to see your life, to see your energy, and hear your story and learn from you. Because as I told everyone, you are not just a great distributor, you are a great person with a great heart, and you have 1001 tips that you can give in order to achieve success in your personal life, but also in your finances.
Okay. Everybody okay with English?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you need me?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Well, first of all, welcome everyone. My name's Jeff Roberti. I'm visiting here from Florida, warm, sunny Florida. Berlin in January is quite a shock. But yeah, if you would like, how many of you have not heard my story before? Anyone not heard me speak before? Anyone? So everyone has. Okay, good. One new one back there. Okay.
Yeah, also.
Well, I won't spend a lot of time on my story, and maybe Anna, if you want to, we'll open it up to some questions, a little Q&A, and maybe we'll do it that way.
Yeah.
I will share with you that I got started back in January of 1987. Some of you were not even born then, I can see in the room. And I once was in my 20s, and I used to work as a waiter. I was a broke waiter, was very dissatisfied, was behind on my bills in life, my promises in life, to myself, to my friends, to my family. And I was literally praying to God to bring me something. And I was a very hard worker, no matter what I did, whether I was waiting tables, working construction, cleaning pools, mowing lawns, whatever I did, I had a really good work ethic. Anybody feel like that? You have a good work ethic no matter what you do? You work hard at it? So I was a good worker, had a good work ethic, and I'm the oldest of 3 boys. My father died at the age of 46. That kind of shaped my model of the world because I saw him struggling with 3 boys, and there was always more month than there was money for him. And he died at the age of 46 of a heart attack. And so I had this thought of, I don't want to end up like that, where I'm always struggling financially. So I was very hungry. I guess the key word I would share with you is finding somebody that's hungry. And then the guy that introduced me to Juice Plus, a friend of mine, he shared with me the product. And back then it was in-home water filtration and air filtration products. And I was a customer first. And as a satisfied customer, I found out that there was an opportunity for an average person like myself to earn an above average income. I went to a meeting. I live in Sarasota, Florida. I went to a meeting in Tampa, Florida. And what got me that night at the meeting was the stories. I heard stories of these people that they loved the product, the results they were getting on the product. I heard the stories of people that were doing well financially. And I went home that night, Dennis, and I thought to myself, if they can do it, I can do it. And so I came home after that meeting and decided to tear up my list of excuses. All excuses, all distractions are equal. I said to myself, Jeff, you could either make excuses or you can make money, but you can't make both, right? And the guy, here's a great story. The guy that introduced me, he had been in the business for 3 years. He had only gotten up to sales coordinator, and it hadn't happened for him. And he prejudged whether this 24-year-old ex-broke waiter was going to do anything or not, and he quit the business my very first month. Can anybody say huge mistake? People say, have you ever heard from him? I say, yeah, he's got a sign he has back here. It says, kick me here. Because he left and went to another network marketing company and thought the grass was greener on the other side of the fence. But the reason I share that is success really is closer than you think. You never know who the next person is you're going to talk to. It could be a Dennis and Claudia. It could be myself. It could be Elmer and Dagmar, some of the leaders in this room. So you never know. But I went to my very first conference. The company was having a conference. I'm in Florida, and it was in North Carolina. And I didn't have the money for the hotel. I didn't have the money for the airfare. So I got in my car. I drove to that conference. And you know, you got to do what you got to do. I slept in my car. I worked out at a gym. I took a shower there, and I had one suit and a skinny little tie, and I put that on. I had long hair back then, and I went to the conference, and I sat in the front row, and I literally had chills going through my body at that first convention, hearing the stories of all these people from around the country that were doing well in the business. And I'll never forget, I left that conference after 2 days, and I was flying so high. I had Juice Plus brain damage. I was dying damage. And I remember getting in the car, and I had the radio going. It was about an 8-10 hour drive back down to Florida. And I literally was crying tears of joy, thanking God for this opportunity. So I didn't take it for granted. Even though my sponsor quit, I realized, Jeff, if it's to be, it's up to me. Don't look up line. Don't look down line. Look in the mirror. And there was a mentor of mine back then, the late great Jim Rohn. Anybody heard of Jim Rohn? And I'll never forget him saying to me, Jeff, for things to change, you got to change, and for things to get better, you've got to get better. He said, your products work, your marketing system works. The only variable is the you part. And he told me also, he said, you can have more in life if you become more in life. And to see things not the way they are, but the way they can become. And I met another guy back then, a guy named Zig Ziglar. Anybody heard of Zig Ziglar, a good old boy from Dallas, Texas? If you haven't, go on YouTube and listen to a little bit of Zig and a little bit of Jim Rohn. They're fabulous. Tony Robbins is another one of my favorites. And Zig said something that really describes our business to a T. You can have everything you want out of life if you help enough other people get what they want out of life. And so I realized the business is never about me. It's always about the person in front of me, meeting their needs, adding value to their lives, and creating these raving fan relationships. So I tore up that list of excuses, went to work, and I said, okay, it's a simple business. I'm a satisfied customer. I believe in the product. Well, what do I get paid for? I get paid for going out there and telling the story, sharing the story with people, my story and other people's stories of what this product means to us. I love Juice Plus. I've been on Juice Plus for over 30 years. Matter of fact, I already got 2 of the waiters at my hotel. I got the guy who was driving me from the airport to the hotel. I talk to everyone. I share my story with everyone. I'm a team player. But so I got started and I said, you know what, Jeff? You need to employ yourself. You need to hold yourself accountable and be the best partner on your team. In other words, lead by example. And so all the excuses I had, 24 years old, no higher education, only have a high school education, no money, no experience, no background, but made it up with a burning desire. This is what I look for in somebody. Somebody that has a desire. They're hungry. Number 2, I was willing to work. I was willing to go out there and pay the price and build up my business. I was willing to say no to some of the parties and the goofing off on the beach, things that really weren't that important, so I could say yes the rest of my life to things that are truly important. And so I tore that list of excuses up, decided to hold myself accountable, and I went out there and started telling everybody about the product, just sharing the story. My job description is talking to people, telling the story. And so I went out and got a lot of customers. I started putting on new customers. Excuse me. Then I started to retail to recruit. Some of my best customers became my best partners. And then I started to help them have success. In other words, when I sponsored somebody new in the business, I would always focus on helping them get off to a fast start. And I would do something called tell, show, try, do. Tell, show, try, do means this. It's one thing to tell someone how to do the business. It's another thing for you to show them how to do the business. They try it, and before you cut them loose, they're doing it. So I got very good at duplicating myself through my new people that I recruited. And so I took all out massive action. I was working extremely hard because I had nothing to lose. I was in my 20s. I was like, okay, I'm going to go for this. I'm really going to go after this. And I started to build up my team locally, and I would do like these 90-day plans. I would go into different cities. I went into Dallas. I went into California. I went all these places and would do 90-day plans. Now back then, there was no social media back in 1987. Matter of fact, some of you may remember this. The phone used to be glued on the wall, and it had a rotary dial on it. Remember those days, anyone? And it had a long cord, and it cost money for a long-distance phone call. It was crazy. So, you know, I mean, we used to think we were cool, and I'd say, let me fax it to you. I'll fax you the document. We had beepers back then. I mean, it was crazy how we did it. So back then, there was a thing called a newspaper. I know nobody reads a newspaper today. It's all online. But there was a section in the newspaper that said sales help wanted. And I got really good at running ads in the newspaper and getting the phone to ring. It was kind of like the social media of that time. Today, a lot of people are very powerful social media influencers. They go on TikTok or Instagram or Facebook, and they attract a lot of people that way. Well, I used to run ads in the newspaper, and that's how I would get people to come out and hear the story, that we're looking for an opportunity. And here's something I'll share with you. I always believe, people say, well, Jeff, do you lead with the product or do you lead with the opportunity? It's like if you're in a rowboat, you don't want to have just one oar in the water and just talk only about the product. I talk about the product and the opportunity. Because I'm showing Dennis, I'm saying, Dennis and Claudia, let me show you a way to get your product for free. Or let me show you a way to make an extra $500 to $1,000 a month with the potential of making $5,000 to $10,000 a month. So I under-promise and over-deliver. So I show them how to offset not just the cost of the product for themselves, but how they can offset that. And if they see merit and value in the product, why would they not want to start sharing it with people immediately? But so I went out there that first year and just took all out massive action, built a massive organization, and I became the #1 earner in the company that very first year. And I know we don't get into income claims, but I used to dream of making $100,000 a year when you're a broke waiter, and all of a sudden I was making that a month in the business. So yeah, and smoked it. And then I went into Canada, and then I came over here to Germany. I remember when we opened up Germany back in the early 90s, and I was like, well, I don't sprechen Sie Deutsch. I don't know anyone in Germany. And I said, well, you know what, Jeff? The bigger the problem, the bigger the paycheck. Figure it out. So I ran ads in the newspaper in the United States, right? You get creative and innovative. I ran ads in the newspaper in the US and looked for bilingual people. I ran an ad that said Germany, multi-billion-dollar company expanding into Germany, looking for marketing directors, 6-figure income potential, bilingual a must, call for details. And my phone started to ring, and I started meeting people that were bilingual that lived in the US that had contacts over here. I recruited them in the US. I brought them to the US conferences. They saw the big picture of all those thousands of people at the conference. And I said, if you'll go with me to Germany, this will all be under you over in Europe. I'll show you how to do it. And I recruited 5 really good ones, got them all to marketing director that very first year, and all 5 of them have dropped out of the business. And it's all compressed up. There's dynamic compression in our business. Another huge mistake, right, of these people that left. But that's how I opened it up. I came over here and I was doing the tell, show, try, do, working with them. So that's just a little bit about my story and how I got started. I've been 38 years. I was telling Dennis and Claudia out in the lobby, When I started, it was strictly out of desperation. I needed the things to change financially. Today, it's out of inspiration. A lot of you have heard my story. Why? Because I tell people the how part of the business is the easy part. It's the why part. Why you do the business. And you got to find a why that'll make you not only cry, but also fly. It'll get you up early and keep you up late. My why back then was my mother never had a nice car, proud woman, had an old beat up car, and I wanted to buy my mom a new car. That was my original why. And I was able to do that. You guys have all heard the story. Anybody not heard the story? Just about everybody's heard that story. I enjoy telling it because it was something that I said, okay, this is going to give me something that's emotionally charged, a compelling future, get me up early, keep me up late, put in that extra 10% effort to produce 90% of the results. And I was in the position after a few years of hard work to buy my mom that new car, that dream car. Today, my why has evolved over the years. And some of you that are leaders in this room, you might need to evolve your why. Why am I in the business today? Why am I over here in Berlin in January for this event, right?
Good question.
Huh?
Good question.
Good question. And so the why today is because it's out of inspiration, to pay it forward, to never forget where you came from, Jeff, and to come over here and help somebody else realize their dreams. So for me, not only do you have the success, but you also have the fulfillment. We were talking about this in the lobby with Dennis. I was talking to Dennis and Claudia. Our business is so rich in relationships. I got all my great Juice Plus family and friends all over the world. Last year I did the conference in Australia, came over here to Madrid, did the one in the United States. And it's like a big family reunion. You just love the culture, the community, the belonging, the Juice Plus family. There's so much love and connection in our business. But also it's an opportunity to continue to grow. Growth equals happiness. When there's progress, there's growth in your life, you're the happiest. And the other part is the contribution, to pay it forward, to go out there and help somebody else. And I love the fact that our business is mission driven, it's cause oriented. You get to do something that's bigger than yourself, something that you can make an impact, make a difference in other people's lives with their health and their wealth. And so the emotional and spiritual revenue that you get from the business is just priceless. So that's why I stay plugged in today, because I truly love what I do and I get to add value to people's lives. Success without fulfillment can be the ultimate failure in life. So in this business, there's meaning, there's purpose, there's fulfillment. And I'll tell you what I love was when I come to a conference and we have the new NMDs share their story on stage, and I sign somebody up. And I believe in them sometimes even more than they believe in themselves, and put my time, my effort, and my money into that person. Everybody thinks, oh, like you're the sponsor, you're making all this money off that person. No, here's how it works. I work for them. I'm the person in front of me. That's what the business is all about. So I help them. I pour my heart and soul into helping them build their business, and then to see them walk the stage, Vinny, a year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever it is, sharing their story, and not the money, but who they've become, the growth that they've had, and knowing that you played a role in that and helped that person, it's priceless. You can't put a price tag on it. And a lot of times it seems to be, we got a lot of ladies in the room, it seems like the ladies are the ones that grab it first and start building it, and the guy is kind of you guys heard of the ITC disease? I'm too cool disease, the guy's too cool, right, at first, well, that's her business. Well, very quickly, as the business starts to have some success, the guy's like, well, it's our business, right? And then once it's very successful, it's my business, my idea. So it's interesting how it works, because I see a lot of the ladies that start it and drive it. Because think about this, ladies. I have a lot of, in the United States, I have a lot of moms on a mission, parents with a purpose. They love it, and they get to keep their spiritual life, their family life as their priorities. It's mom care, not daycare. They can start their own little home-based business out of their home. They love the products. They get excited about it. They tell everyone. They start to build community online with all their girlfriends, and then they start to build, you know, a local team as well. And it's unbelievable how quickly it starts to grow for them. And they can start part-time, and eventually their husband can retire from his full-time job and join them. And now they've got the quality of life that most people only dream of. Anybody heard of Wim and Birgit Plonga over here? Wim and Birgit were two people. Perfect example. I asked Wim, I said, what does Juice Plus mean to you? And because he said, well, Jeff, we were both very successful before we got into Juice Plus. We both were making a 6-figure income. But I was always gone in the morning before the sun went up, and I was always home after the sun went down. He said, now we get to work together. We have all this wonderful time with our family. And he goes, I have breakfast every morning with my 2 kids. He goes, it's not the money, it's the quality of life. Not only the financial piece, but the quality, because we now have time freedom. And as you build up your business and you start to build a growing customer base and you start to build a team, you can build what's called residual income, where you get paid tomorrow off of what you did yesterday. Let me see if I got the right room here. Does anybody like the idea of making money whether you work or not? Is that popular over here in Berlin? How many like to stay at home work in your underwear, right? How many would like for your children to have wealthy parents? So you can build this thing up and have the residual income and the quality of life. My first 3 to 5 years, call it 5 years that I worked in North America, I was 24 years old. By the time I was 30, I could have retired because I built such a massive business over in the US, and then I went and did it again over here in Europe for another 5 years. So the majority of the income that I've earned is really off that first 10, 20 years that I built it. Here it is going on almost 40 years later. So I love what I do. I get to add value to people's lives. It's so rewarding. How many of you are going to be with me with us on Monday? Show of hands. Just about everyone? Who's not going to be there Monday? Okay, a few of you. Okay, all right. Just out of curiosity. Why don't I do this, Anna? If you want to come up here, or I could just do it myself. Either way. Come on up here. And if they're really hard questions, I'm going to give them to Anna. But how many, just if you would, how many NMDs and above do we have in the room? Please stand. Marketing directors and above. Oh, wow, look at this. We got a powerful room here. Okay, great. Give them the big hand. Congratulations. Go ahead and have a seat. So one of the things I will share with you is I've always tried to keep the business very simple and easy and magical and duplicatable where anyone can do it. And so it's really a simple business. It's not an easy business. It does require some hard work and some discipline and focused on the paying activities. But I'll open it up to some questions if anybody has any questions. Anyone?
Ich kann übersetzen, also falls ihr irgendwelche Probleme habt mit Englisch. I prefer the translation in